Wisconsin has a new state budget. Governor Tony Evers signed it into law just after 1:30 this morning in a race against Congress to ensure Wisconsin gets a federal Medicaid match that it would lose under President Trump's tax, spending cuts, and bill. Governor Evers enacting some partial vetoes to portions of that budget that includes a closing date for Green Bay Correctional Institution. The plan is still to close the prison, but the 2029 deadline was removed. This is a two-year deal between Governor Evers and state Republicans. The bipartisan deal will cut income taxes for working people and retirees by $1.5 billion. Sales taxes will be eliminated on residential electric bills, funding increases for child care and special education. The budget also raises fees for getting a driver's license, vehicle title, and license plates. The deal was originally due on Monday, making it the first state budget deadline to be missed since 2017. Republican Representative Dean Coffert shared a statement that reads in part, quote, "We have split control of government in our state, which means that we have to work together and compromise to make positive investments that move Wisconsin forward and help our citizens. While there are certainly some things in this budget that I don't like, there are also many positive things for Wisconsinites," end quote. Democratic Representative Ryan Spouty writes in part, quote, "While I recognize and commend the bipartisan cooperation that occurred this past week, taxpayers in my district deserve better. Working families in Green Bay and Ashwaubenon can't afford to watch their property taxes go up again and again. With this budget, the state legislature continues to starve our chronically underfunded public schools." We have more details on the newly signed budget at our website, WBAY.com. Meanwhile, President